Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Entertainment Expansion. We are your hosts, Tyler Callahan and Mike Ferrante. Mike, how you doing this week?
Well, I'm chilling this week, Tyler. I'm excited to talk about what we have on the table today.
Yeah, we both been looking forward to this episode for a few weeks because we have quite a bit to say about it. But we are talking about Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, the finale to the sequel trilogy, and the now finale to the Skywalker Saga. Before we get into anything that will come off the top of our heads, this is a spoiler-filled episode because we cannot say anything about the movie without spoiling it. So, just putting that out there right now. Basically, the movie takes place right after 1 year after The Last Jedi. If you saw The Last Jedi, you know there wasn't much left to continue with. So, Mike, what'd you think of The Rise of Skywalker?
Well, it wasn't the worst Star Wars movie they ever made, but it was no episode 3 or 5.
Or 4?
Yep, or 4.
Or 6?
Yep, or 6 actually. Yeah, you're right. So I'd say it's a lower mid-tier Star Wars movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with you on that. It was
Like we've all seen worse.
disappointment. Yeah, no, I mean we have seen worse. I mean, Attack of the Clones would like to, raise their hand.
Yes, they
But
would.
I think the main issue with this movie is that it just all goes back to Disney. And it's not the characters themselves. It's just how do you not, for one of the biggest movie franchises of all time, you have access to make three new like direct movies, the biggest franchise of all time possibly, and you don't have a written plan for what the plot point should be for three movies. You don't need all three scripts out before you start filming, but be like, go to direction, be like, we want you to direct, but you gotta hit these points. And it came out with Last Jedi that Ryan Johnson could do whatever he wants. JJ left some notes, but Disney's like, do whatever you want. We got The Last
Yeah.
Jedi. And now, because you kick off the guy that did Jurassic World, which makes sense. Those aren't good movies, but you bring back JJ. So might as well force him to do the entire trilogy then, so it's at least consistent. May not be good, but it'll be consistent,
And it will
which,
tell a coherent story.
a coherent story. Yeah, I mean, let's see. A simple thing is Palpatine. Palpatine's back. The Senate, aka the Senate, if you were to give him a wrestling name.
Yeah, but Tyler, how did he come back exactly?
I don't know. He just memed it up to Kylo Ren, basically.
Yeah,
Like,
that's another problem with this movie. If you're returning this guy
mm-hmm.
after a long hiatus, you gotta at least say how he survived. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be more than 2 sentences of dialogue, but give us how he came back.
An
Like with
editor
Darth.
came out and said, "Yeah, I mean, we had scenes for that, but they thought it was not directly related to the plot, and the audience would lose focus." I'm like, really? Good. You're right, Mike. Just can't 2 sentences, three, explaining how.
Simple as that. I mean, look at the Clone Wars, right? When they brought Darth Maul back, they told us how he survived. He used all of his Sith hatred to keep himself alive, because that's how strong in the dark side of the Force he was. He used his hatred to keep himself alive.
Which is a lot like how Anakin kept himself alive, even though he was basically handicapped and burning alive.
Correct. So you couldn't have even done the lazy way and been like, yeah, Palpatine, that's exactly what he did.
Because last time we left him, Death Star 2 blew up in the middle of space.
As he was falling down a never-ending pit within the Death Star, too.
Yeah. So if he didn't get splat at the bottom, he blew up.
That would be correct.
So, yeah, they just kind of ignore that. I mean, they do put some detail in, he's basically decrepit, he can't move without assistance from a giant crane, which you mentioned this earlier. It's basically like the thing from the Assassin's Creed movie.
Yeah, they basically said, you know what? We saw Assassin's Creed movie that didn't work out, but we like that little Animus thing. We're gonna use that.
I mean, hey, that was a Fox movie. We bought Fox, right? They still have that prop around. Can we just use that?
Exactly. Same exact prop too.
So, Palpatine, they don't explain how he came back. When you do watch the movie, the title, the title information that's very classic, gives you the setup. Fairy Rush, they tell you, the dead speak and all that. And Palpatine sent out a message after Snoke died. It'd be pretty cool to hear people react to the first time that that he's back, right? People are scared, right? There's dread. You can listen to the voice in Fortnite. When they did that Star Wars event, that's where they had they got the same actor too, Ian McDermott for it. So couldn't been like if they planned it out, they could have teased that at the Last Jedi, right? Everyone thinks they won, and then you just hear that voice come over the radio and then cut the credits.
Yeah, but also I feel like it goes back to I don't think they wanted Palpatine to come back. They're like, all right, fuck it, we need to do something to get more fans back in here. The Emperor, yep, let's do it.
But again, yeah, I mean, all those points just go back to they didn't plan shit out.
Correct. Which is very strange because on the other side of Disney's projects, they plan everything. Marvel Universe, that was planned right after, like, I think as soon as Kevin Feige hopped on board, which I believe it was either, I want to say it was the first Avenger, and if not first Avenger, at least the first Thor. That whole universe was planned out.
Yeah, I mean, he's done interviews. He's like, yeah, we don't know the exact details, but we know, like, okay, from Avengers, eventually we're hitting Thanos, so we have to hit some points at then. And then he works from there. And everyone else. And it works. This leads into the other issue of Palpatine, and that is small note. Looking like that old, super wrinkled dude, he had sex somehow, I guess.
Yes.
Because he had a son, I guess, who wasn't strong enough, because Rey's a Palpatine. The granddaughter.
I mean, I guess, but then you could go the argument, he was in the Senate for a while before he was disfigured. He could have had a mistress then and knocked her up, and then she had a kid a couple years later, and so by the time, I guess, Rey
If
is
it's how he
born,
looked like in episode 1 and 2, it's way more believable.
Well, it could have happened during episode 3, because between episode 3 and 6, what is it, like a 30-year span? Something like that?
I mean, beginning of 3, maybe during the Clone Wars, if that happened, I guess it's believable.
Because, then it makes sense. His son was old enough to have a kid, and then his son was in his late 30s when he died. So then Rey is now in her early 20s, I guess. I don't know. But it could make sense. But once again, I guess none of that's important.
Yeah, I mean, they show a quick flashback of them leaving, but you don't get a good look at their age. You don't get a really good look at anything. So it's just kind of brushed over. What else? Basically, a lot of stuff that happened in Last Jedi didn't really matter here. And
For,
whether you're a fan of Last Jedi or not, that's just disappointing, right? They reference how, Luke died, and that was supposed to, be a spark for the rebellion, and Poe's upset throughout the entire year, and he talks about it. It's like no one came during the battle, and they're still struggling a year later. But Lando and Chewie go around the galaxy. They got everyone. Okay, sure.
Yep. Because it's Lando and Chewie.
Let's see. What's another character that was ruined? Finn. Finn was ruined. Starting from episode 7, he was the most unique character, being a stormtrooper that turned to good and was not just a mindless robot. That's just kind of wasted throughout the entire trilogy.
Yeah, and I mean, they hinted that he was force sensitive.
Mm-hmm. Which
and then
we learned after the movie came out. I was like, oh yeah, he wanted to tell him he was force sensitive, and there was a scene that may have included that. I'm like, why is that cut out?
Yeah, like that would have been cool. Maybe at the end, Finn was with Rey on Tatooine, and she was going to start up her own new Jedi Order type thing, with Finn being the first Jedi Padawan she takes in.
Yeah, especially since he did use a lightsaber before. So if they ended with them like in a training montage, so like you see the Jedi will continue in some way.
Maybe not even a training montage, but just Finn making his own lightsaber.
That's true. Like just him in the robes, maybe, right? And you see a lightsaber on the side. Like you see he's a Jedi, but some. So yeah, he's been just kind of reduced to, especially this movie where it's just yelling Rey, every other 5 minutes. I will say his banter with Poe is still good. That's one of the bright spots of him and Poe. But I guess we should talk about Rey and how she is a very boring character. At least I feel like she is.
Yeah, she's kind of overpowered from the start.
Yeah, which I guess being Palpatine's granddaughter, that's their way around it now.
I just feel like it's too much.
Yeah,
like,
it kind of is.
Luke wasn't overpowered in the beginning, at least. And he was the son of Anakin Skywalker, the kid born straight out of midichlorians and the Force.
Mm. I guess the thinking is, well, if they skipped a year and Leia did Jedi training, or most of it, she's able to teach Rey actively for a year, most of this stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
So, did she pick up Force Heal from Leia? Or was that from the Jedi books? Or where the fuck did that come out of?
I feel like that should have came out of the Jedi books.
Because I feel like, when she did that for the first time, Anakin's probably watching as a ghost and like, motherfucker.
Yeah, you
He's
see the
probably
memes
pissed.
of Qui-Gon looking at Obi-Wan when Qui-Gon's dying. He's like, Obi-Wan, use Force Heal to heal me. I'm sorry, Master. We train Jedi. I don't have that ability unlocked yet.
You can't spare a bit of life. You can't spare 5 years from me. A little bit of Force? No, Master. It's not the Jedi way. Goodbye.
But on the flip side of that, technically, you nailed it on the head there. It's not the Jedi way. The Jedi way are not supposed to fear death. They're supposed to welcome it because they're becoming one with the Force. And to cheat death is technically unnatural, which is the pathway to the Sith.
I guess. I mean,
So
I feel that's kind of stupid because I feel you should be able to Force heal, right? Because there's good uses for it. She heals the monster, which is helpful. And I feel Kylo Ren doing it for Rey and sacrificing his life. A self-sacrifice should be a good thing. You're sacrificing for others, which should be a Jedi thing.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know, but yeah, it's like the issue with Rey, I feel, is that if they planned out the 3 movies, we should have found out she was a Palpatine secretly. Like, we know it, but the main cast doesn't know it at like the end of the 7th movie. So throughout 8 and 9, you see her do stuff as she trains and makes sense, and then she knows about it in this movie. But everyone just knows in this movie. To go along with that, these guys can't commit to any deaths besides Kylo Ren, really. Like, I thought it would have been a powerful scene if we see Rey with the Force lightning. It's a shocking scene. And Chewie actually dies. Like, she fucked up big time. So she finds out she's technically evil granddaughter, uses Force lightning, and in her anger, killed the best friend. That'd be something she has to go through and overcome. But the next scene, you just jump to another ship, and I know it's the other transport cruiser. He's fine. Just, all right, sure. C-3PO, again, wiped his memories, so they can find a dagger, which I don't know how to fuck that dagger to the map, but that's a whole nother issue. And, R2-D2 has backup, so he's all right.
Yeah, here's my question. If R2-D2 had backup this entire time, why didn't he back up C-3PO's memory so 3PO would remember that Anakin Skywalker created him and everything that happened in movies 1 through 3?
I don't know. I don't.
You know what I mean?
They're like they make
Disney...
a point like R2-D2 is like really connected to Luke. Like, he's not working during the 7th because Luke is gone. Like, you think maybe he'd tell Luke that, like, oh, I got these things. Maybe you should plug in a C-3PO.
Yeah. You could do that.
Also, it's never been mentioned over 30 years.
And see, I feel like Disney with these movies, they're just digging themselves into plot holes and contradictions.
Yeah, they are, really. Like, I could tell once they start advertising this movie as like, oh, it's the end of the Skywalker Saga. It's like, you really are just like trying to connect us to the other movies so you have a way out.
Yes.
Because up until now, their mantra has been, we'll introduce old characters, kill them off, and then move on.
Which isn't necessarily bad either.
It's not bad, but it needs to be like better. Like, I understand if they want to have Luke be more of a pacifist in this trilogy, and that's fine. But imagine if he was on a mission with them in this movie, and he had to hold back, say, the Knights of Ren. He sacrificed himself so they can get away, but he takes down the Knights of Ren with him. You get a badass fight scene, he still dies, and the focus is still on the new characters. So all the fans who are upset, like, oh, Luke didn't do any action scenes or whatever, you're happy. Disney's happy because, they focus on the new characters still. Just something like that. Which, Knights of Ren, fucking useless.
Yeah.
That's basically, I mean, they look cool. They look cool in episode 7 in a flashback. We wondered where they were in 8, and I don't know.
What happened to Luke Skywalker's lightsaber?
That's a good question. We saw it in the flashback scene with Leia training, but that's it, right?
Yeah. We don't know what it is. Luke guides Rey to Leia's old lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
Where's his?
Also, this is from Last Jedi, but when he has the fight across the galaxy with his force projection, he uses Anakin's lightsaber. It's blue.
Correct. So
why is he not using his? Yeah.
Like the one he made
Disney, do you
himself.
hate the color green? I mean, you like money. Why not a green lightsaber?
Fun fact trivia. Do you know what kyber crystal Luke used to build his own lightsaber?
Like the color or the name?
The actual kyber crystal that he used.
From is it
Do you
Qui-Gon's?
know? Yes, it is.
He's the only one I know that the main character that has a green lightsaber.
Yes, it is because when Obi-Wan went to exile,
He took the
his
crystal
own
with him.
lightsaber and the two lightsabers he had was Anakin's and Qui-Gon's because he always kept his old master's lightsaber.
Okay. Huh, well, I did not know that.
And so when Luke was building his own lightsaber, it was a deleted scene that they later put into the beginning of episode 6. He's on Tatooine in Obi-Wan's old house building his very own first lightsaber with all the spare parts Obi-Wan had lying around, which is why it resembles a lot of Obi-Wan's lightsaber, but has the green blade because it came from Qui-Gon's lightsaber.
Oh, that makes sense. I mean, I guess I have to go see that deleted scene. I
It's
feel that should have been in the movie, but
a little bit of light trivia there.
yeah, that is some good trivia. So Mike, I've been talking quite a bit. What are some other issues you had with the movie?
Well, not necessarily the biggest fan that how Kylo Ren died
Yeah.
because the Emperor's like Rey's gonna have to kill me because then all the Sith will go into her, and then boom, the Sith live on forever and no more Jedi. But instead of her battling him alone, I think it would have been cooler if Ben Solo and Rey fought Palpatine together, but then Ben took a bullet for the team, kind of like he did anyway. But in a different way, and it would have been kind of cooler to see. He struck down Palpatine, all the Sith going to him, but to keep Rey safe, he sacrifices himself and his darkness so that Rey can kill him then, and that whole process would be over.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been cooler. I'm of the mindset that he shouldn't have died, especially since they did turn him. I feel if he should have died, he should have stayed evil to the end and stay committed to it. But since they turned him, and Ben Solo,
It's kind of a theme they have going. Anytime a Jedi goes dark, he doesn't really come back without dying after. Darth
which,
Vader,
yeah, I
Anakin,
mean,
goes dark side, comes back to the light, dies right after. Ben
yeah,
Solo goes
could do
to the
something
dark side,
fresh. Yeah.
comes back, dies right after.
But you're right. That is the theme in Star Wars. But that's something maybe that they had a chance to do something fresh. He's roaming the galaxy by himself, atoning for his sins. Cause,
Yeah, they should have had a spin-off series for it.
I mean, I wouldn't say there's a good thing about the movie, but no thanks to anyone but Adam Driver. But Adam Driver gave a really good performance as Kylo Ren.
He
Just
did.
the body acting from when he turns into Ben Solo again, when he fights the Knights of Ren, just completely different from how he acted as Kylo Ren, and just really shows how good he is. He definitely gave a great performance.
Yes, many things I did not like about this movie. He is not one of them. He is probably the saving grace that this movie was actually as good as it was.
Absolutely, which is even more annoying that they killed him off.
Yeah,
I
but
really wouldn't mind a spin-off movie with him.
it completed his arc, which I get.
Yeah.
New adventures for Kylo Ren or Ben Solo would have been cool. What else? They teased Lando coming back, and then Lando was in like 3 scenes. They made it seem like he was going to be a huge part of the movie. Wasn't really at all.
I didn't think that he'd be a huge part of the movie. Like I never got that feeling. I got the feeling like they're throwing him in there, but I never felt like he'd be like a big part of the team because they're running around the galaxy. He's just kind of gonna slow them down, really.
I mean, I guess, but I feel like we could have seen more of him.
I mean, he did say something which annoyed me, like, "Oh, him and Luke went on, secret mission to try and find a dagger." And I'm like, "Oh wow, that's something cool that we don't get to see."
Or
Great.
that we, never heard of before.
A Luke and Lando team up mission. That would have been badass.
Yeah, it probably would.
Just just another throwaway line that just shows what you really want. Oh, General Hux. That was fucking stupid. How he died.
I mean, that I actually didn't mind that much.
I just don't like what they did with the character. In 7, they made it very simple. He's straight up like, basically like Hitler, like super Nazi supporter like style. The way he yells, the way he's angry, and by the end, his feud with Kylo Ren made him to the point where he betrayed everything he believed in just to be a spy.
Well, just so that Kylo Ren would be defeated. And because in his mind, he was like, see, I didn't mind that as much. Because the one person that hates Kylo Ren more than anyone else is Hux. So that's likely who would have betrayed them all. Is
Like, I'm not
because
saying it's coming out of left field. I'm just saying, like, it kind of ruins the character as you've seen in 7 and 8. Like, again, there's no lead up to him switching. There's no thought.
I mean, in 7, when he saw Kylo passed out on the floor and he pulled out his pistol and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna shoot this motherfucker right here."
But see, that's fine because he would then become Supreme Leader, I guess.
Maybe not, because the Emperor had his own backup plan.
Yeah, like 20 different Snokes.
Yeah, and speaking of Snoke, did they explain any more about him?
Uh,
Nope.
well, you got more than you did the past 2 movies. Everyone's wondering, like, where did this strong Force user come out of nowhere? Well, Palpatine just gave him a ship and flew him out there, and then, oh look, there's Snoke.
Yeah,
Whatever.
like I guess Palpatine taught Snoke ways of the dark side. I guess.
No, see, here's the thing. I like how Snoke is a clone and how Palpatine made him, but I'm confused
Wait,
how it works. Does Palpatine
Snoke.
control what Snoke says, or is he just
Wait.
brainwashed by Palpatine and Snoke thinks for himself?
I don't know. I kind of missed something. Did you say Snoke was a clone?
Yeah, like he cloned them. Yeah,
Did he?
yeah. In the intro scene, there's like 4 or 5 canisters of different Snokes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I don't know if they were just rejects or they're backups, but there wasn't just one Snoke.
I must have missed that then. I guess he was just a force conduit for the Emperor.
Yeah, so I'm curious how that works. Like, whenever Snoke talked, was that like the Emperor talking to them, or was that Snoke talking but influenced by the Emperor?
Maybe a bit of both.
Maybe, but yeah, that's another thing they don't go over.
Yeah, we won't know about that.
Well, I guess we should give a few upsides. We're clocking in here at almost 25 minutes of ripping the movie apart. I will say, while I've said this before, but it's very weird how this is a disappointing film for Star Wars people. But if you're not a Star Wars fan, this is probably a good movie for you. Um, just because the first 2/3 of the movie, where it's just an adventure movie going from planet to planet as they try to complete a quest, it's very simple, it's very fun, and it is fast paced. You do a bunch, it goes through a lot. It's just that when they actually try to hit the main story points, that the logic isn't there. So,
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you on that.
like, I will say it's fun to watch, but then when you get to like the main like ending and then you got to wrap it up, it's like, like the more you think about it, it's like, I don't like that.
If you're a fan of the franchise, you're probably not gonna be too thrilled.
Yeah, definitely. Again, not the worst, but considering how they're naming this the end of the Skywalker Saga, it's kind of disappointing. I guess wasted opportunity would have been all the force ghosts, the voices that Rey hears. That would have been better if you actually saw the force ghosts. So
Some
like
of
one
them,
scene would have been nice.
because all the names that they brought out, there's no way they could make all those characters, because we've never seen Ahsoka Tano in live action before. Kanan Jarrus we've never seen in live action before.
I mean, you could
So
have some of them show up, especially
yeah,
since Palpatine's like, "Oh, I'm all the Sith," and Rey's like all the Jedi. I'm like, no, you're not. He actually has Sith spirits in him.
yeah, but also, when is that ever a thing?
Never.
Okay, thank you. That was my point. So, like, what?
Yeah, I didn't know there was a Sith possession as a thing.
Yeah, like when you killed your master became a part of you. Like,
It
but
is that.
no,
I wonder if that's why the rule of 2 was set up. But
who
eh.
knows?
Again, another thing not explained.
Well, let's go into the very brief positives before as we're wrapping this up. Some of the fight scenes were actually very entertaining. Like, I enjoyed Ben Solo fighting the Knights of Ren.
Yes, that was a good fight scene.
It was, especially like once he got the lightsaber and they were all like, "Oh shit."
He just does a little shrug and just fucks them all up.
Oh yeah, quickly too.
I did like the Rey and Kylo Ren fight scene on the Death Star.
Yeah, that was also good. Ah, damn. I hate to do this, but the problem I have with the Ben Solo and Knights of Ren fight, he's a powerful Force user.
Mm-hmm.
Where was that?
I thought he was using the Force.
I mean, we're talking about a guy that could literally freeze people from moving.
Oh, you mean something that was completely dropped from episode 7, or freeze bullets?
Yep. We're talking about a guy that probably knows how to force choke.
Oh, he probably does. Yeah. I mean, if Frey can just learn force lightning
Yep.
from anger, yeah.
Yep. But none of those were used. Made that fight. I mean, I guess they had to make the fight somewhat fair. Like, oh yeah, he's good now. He doesn't have any of
It's
those
still
powers.
over in like 2 minutes. Like, it's not that
Yeah.
fair.
But yeah, that's the last negative thing I will say.
Yeah, I don't really have any other positives. There was some great acting, especially from Adam Driver. I mean, a lot of the cast is good acting, but Adam Driver specifically with what he had to do.
Yeah.
I did like seeing Han Solo one more time. I thought, no, I'm surprised they got Harrison Ford back for 5 minutes, but
Yeah.
I'm curious what that paycheck looked like. But yeah, I mean, I thought that was a good moment. And yeah, I mean, I just like the adventure part for the majority of the movie, but that's about it. Um, Another issue I have to talk about before we wrap up is just going back to Palpatine. How fucking stupid he died from Force lightning being brought back into his face. He
Yeah.
had 2 movies to learn from this mistake over 60 years. And she brings out a second lightsaber, and that's what does it. Just turn off the lightning, dude.
You did it.
Anything.
You did it for Mace Windu. You could have done it again.
Mace Windu reflected with 1 and aged you 30 years. You did it in 6 and you died. And it's happening again. Fucking stop, dude. You're all the Sith. Do you not have any other Sith powers besides lightning? Like, is Vader the only one who can use Force choke? I don't think so.
Definitely not. Luke used it.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe fucking Palpatine could choke her out of it, throw her around. Like, he had no problem throwing Ben around.
Yeah.
So that's why I would have liked the Force Ghost there to help her out to make it a bit more believable. Because it really is, oh, she's struggling. Oh, hold on, I got the second lightsaber. Okay, and it's over.
Yeah.
All right. Or what it would have been better is taking all that Force life from both of them. He turned into Episode 3 Palpatine and started doing some ninja shit, flipping around, right? He had a red lightsaber on him. Like, that would have been nice.
Yeah,
Get a proper
maybe.
final lightsaber duel.
New trilogy doesn't have anything like that.
But, so, yeah, I mean, I guess let's get to our recommendations. I say yes, because I feel if you're a Star Wars fan, you just kind of have to see it to watch it. I'd actually only really recommend this if you don't give a shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with that. Just because if you're a Star Wars fan, you're gonna have to watch it. Just
Yeah.
go into it knowing that it's not gonna be your favorite Star Wars movie.
Like, if you're
Just
8 episodes in at this point, just finish it.
already have a low expectation. This way, you see it, it might actually surprise you, and you might like it more.
Think of it like this. For any people that, any of the younger fans out there that, say, grew up on Game of Thrones, this is Star Wars Season 8. Okay? It's the best way I can put it.
If anyone would like to share their opinions about Star Wars Episode 9, if they've seen it, you agree with us, do you not? Let us know. We're excited to hear it. You have a trifecta of options on how you can contact us. Entertainmentexpansion@outlook.com or DM us, put a comment under our last Instagram page, which is obviously Entertainment Expansion. Third and finally, we do have a YouTube channel which has a bunch of other videos of us talking about movies, a few games in there. Check it out. I think you guys are really going to like it.
Yeah, we got a good collection of discussions up there. And, of course, obviously, leave your thoughts. We want to hear them. Maybe we, just like everyone else, is wrong about Star Wars, and maybe this is a really good movie. Or maybe we're right, and Disney should have had a plan. But that'll be it for this week's episode of Entertainment Expansion. Thank you for listening, and see you next week.